You've got the skills, you got the experience, and maybe even the dream. But what holds a lot of new business owners back is not having the right systems in place from the start.
No more burnout, no more fear. We'll build it strong, make it clear. Not just a grind, but a dream that's true. Building a business that works for you.
Welcome back to The Builder's Edge, the show where we talk about builders, contractors, or talk with builders, contractors, and entrepreneurs about the courage, strategies, and mindset that help you create your next level. Today, I'm joined by Cain McWilliams, who is right in the middle of planning a big transition. After years as a project manager and sales manager in the steel erection and fabrication industry, Cain is now preparing to launch his very own commercial painting company, Action Plan Painting. What I love about this conversation is that Cain isn't looking back on a finished journey. He's letting us in while he's still building it. We're going to talk about what inspired this move, why he chose commercial painting, how he's planning his launch, and what it really feels like to step away from working for the man to building something of your own. If you've been dreaming about starting your own business, but you're still in the planning stage, this episode is for you. Let's jump right in. Cain, I love that we get to catch you right in the middle of the transition while you're building it out. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So Cain, the leap, deciding to transition. Tell us about that. You've had a strong career in project management and sales. What made you start thinking about going out on your own, and what excites you the most about this transition?
Well, I kind of grew up in the painting industry from my family. And then, as I got older and, started the adulthood, I guess you would say, doing the adulting things, I realized that, it wasn't all fun and games, and a lot of things were hard. So, I started life off as a law enforcement officer, and then, got into manufacturing and stayed there for a while. And I was like, man, I need to change. So I wound up going to work for a friend of mine for steel erection and fabricating, and enjoyed it. But during that time, I call it painted on the side. So I was working the weekends and afternoons and stuff like that, painting just to build extra money, side money is what I called it. It was a side hustle for me. So several months ago, me and the wife were talking, and we were both kind of agreeing that, man, I'm busy all the time. I'm always gone traveling, and it's not really doing anything for our family. Like it's not, we're not gaining anything extra. We're not wealthy. We're nothing. We're getting by. We're getting by comfortably.
Right.
So,
you're growing somebody else's business at that point, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And I have learned, I learned several practices through my manufacturing stage and stuff like that. Because I ran businesses during that time, and I was I done well, done very well. I just was very burnt out with it. So I'm talking, me and the wife were talking. I'm like, the commercial space is so big right now that, we need to do something in the service industry for commercial. And she's like, well, what would you want to do? I'm like, well, painting. I know painting. I know painting very well. So, me and her kept talking on it, and we decided to, hey, let's give it a shot. If, the worst that could happen is we don't succeed at it.
Yeah, that's the worst can happen. You end up right back where you're at now, right?
Exactly.
Right.
So that's the kind of the way we were looking at it. And so, me and her both got busy with it and putting effort in, and, hopefully here very, very soon, effort will be paying off.
I'm sure it will. Okay, well, we talked about the excitement. Let's talk about the fears. What fears are you working through as you're planning this move?
Financial fears, because we're looking at doing it all with, money that we have saved and put up, money that me and her both have worked for. So that's a big fear. You're like, well, how are we going to make this last? And, what are we going to do if something happens and we have to have money for whatever else, something happens to the house or cars or whatever it may be.
Sure. Yeah, that
So that is a big fear.
yes, it is. What was the deciding point to make you decide to maybe not get a business loan and kind of just use this to do that, if you don't mind sharing?
Well, to be completely honest with you, so we didn't really consider business loan much, just because of the fact that it's hard getting business loans now with, especially starting out. We have noticed that it is hard getting them, and I made decisions in the past that didn't lead me to where I have the best ability to get great loans or whatever at
Sure.
at low interest rates. So
Right.
I'm looking at, all right, if I borrow 50,000 or 100,000, how much am I really paying back? Is it worth it? Can I take this money that I have in savings and make it work? And if I spend it wisely.
That's a good point. Yeah, we do have to think. We have to keep in mind, how much are we borrowing? We're not just borrowing that number. We're borrowing the number plus everything we pay back in interest is what the true
Correct.
borrow is. Exactly. Good point. So talk a little bit more about your past work. How's it prepared you for what you feel like is ahead?
Well, I can say starting out, so I started out professional career as a police officer. So, and being a police officer, you quickly have to learn how to talk to people.
I bet you
If
sure do.
it's not good for you. And kind of really what kind of prepared me for that was, when I was in high school, while I was in high school, I had been in sales. Like I worked at a Chevrolet dealership. I would leave school in the afternoons. I would go work at the dealership. I would sell cars. I was making, granted, I was making really good money, especially for a high schooler at the time. And 18, 19, 20 years old, being out of school, I was making really good money. But then I started to where I was to kind of settle down. I was like, well, I'm not great with money at the time. I was like, I have plenty of money one week, and the next week I might not have but one or two cars sold. So my check's not going to be that much. And I blew through money, and it was bad. So I quickly was like, you know what? I got to find something that's stable, what I told myself. So
Yeah.
I got in, that's when I got into the policing. But being in sales, it also, taught me how to deal with people and talk with people. And that really kind of stuck with me through the law enforcement. And I kind of quickly realized, there's no money in law enforcement, unfortunately. I
Working for the
loved it, but
man
there was no
again,
money in
right?
it.
Yeah.
I found myself working every hour of the day for the most part, 6 or 7 days a week,
Oh,
to
man.
live comfortably. So I got into manufacturing for the Nissan plant in Canton, Mississippi, and I started out as a supervisor and worked my way up through the plant. And it was good money, nothing I can complain about. It was really good money, and I loved it. That is the best way to put it. And me and the wife, we was on vacation one year in Navarre, Florida, and I was like, man, it would be nice to move down here. And she was like, well, we can do it when we retire. I'm like, oh, hang on, I'm not moving to the beach when I retire. I want to be able to enjoy it. So I don't know, 2 months later, 3 months later, we sold our house and moved to Florida.
Mm. How exciting. Great.
It was exciting and nerve wracking and everything at the same time because all of it was, very, very new to us. So we stayed in the manufacturing world for a long time. And then I just got to where I was burnt out.
Yeah.
And that's when I decided to make a change.
Wonderful. So, sounds like change is not new to you. You sound like you're pretty comfortable with change. It sounds like change several times.
You have to be comfortable with change.
Yes, an entrepreneur is on a roller coaster. 1 minute you're on the top, and the next minute you're down, and next minute you're up, and now yelling "wee," and then the next minute you're like, "Get me off this ride." Yeah.
That's about right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The action plan, preparing for your launch. Your business name is Action Plan Painting. What does that mean to you?
So it kind of goes back to the manufacturing stage I was in. So there's a cycle called a PDCA cycle.
Say that again.
Plan,
It's
do, check, act.
Say it again.
A PD, it's a PDCA cycle. So it's a plan, do, check, act.
Okay.
So, and yeah, so I was looking at that and I was talking to the wife on it and I'm like, I want to kind of integrate this into our name. And she's like, well, wow. I'm like, because it really, it shows that you're putting forth the effort. You're making a plan, you're checking things off and you're acting on it. And I'm like, and that's something that's kind of always stuck with me. I know that sounds crazy.
No.
But again, there's a few things from manufacturing that have stuck with me through everything, and I can't tell you why, I just have. So me and her were talking about the name. I'm like, well, what about action plan painting?
I like it.
Because one, action builds. You make people believe things and see things through action. You can talk all day long, but action is what proves things.
It builds trust.
Correct.
Yeah.
It builds trust. So you can talk about it, but until you do it, nobody's going to believe you. So
right. Yeah, I love it. So, I've been learning a lot lately about patterns and picking the patterns that work and just keep doing the patterns that work. Just keep it simple. Like, what is it? Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, I call it the KISS method.
Yeah, keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, so you've got, each step in that plan, and that just keeps you focused on each step. And then once you complete it, you're done, and just rinse and repeat, right?
That is it.
So what is the very first thing on your checklist before, saying, I'm opening the doors and let's go for it?
Oh, well, I'm kind of opening them and kind of building the business and opening it all kind of together. So I had originally only wanted to do commercial. Well, started with the commercial stuff, done a couple jobs. I wanted to use subs on those, but finding subs that you can rely on is very, very hard and challenging. But and then I had a person reach out to me that a realtor that had some houses that he wanted me to take a look at. So I went and looked at some houses and done a couple. And I kind of like, why am I only limiting myself to commercial? Why not do, residential as well?
Right. Yeah. Especially since the jobs are knocking at your door. That shows partnerships. I think that's a big piece when you're starting to, launch something. One of the first steps is think of those partnerships. Who can I, set up a type of referral program? And with, anybody in the trades business, realtors are, really sometimes your best partner, your best bud.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They have to
most definitely.
Yeah. They have to get those things finished before they can get those homes sold. And so their paycheck depends on somebody doing it. So it's a great place to start. Okay. So, how are you approaching things like licensing, certifications, and branding?
So, well, that's the phase that I'm just now starting to get into. I say me. So the wife and I are getting into. So we are, insured and stuff like that. But that's stuff that I've never really had to deal with on the business side of things, even though with running them, the owners have always taken care of that. I haven't been really involved in that besides like ASC certifications and ISO certification on painting. That really doesn't you go hand in hand. You don't have to have any of that. So that is stuff that I am looking at now, actively looking at to have to make it look better for us. Absolutely. Or to make it more appealing.
Absolutely. It does. Certifications, anything that you can add to your list there as certifications. I talked to a gentleman the other day. He's in the tree removal business, but he has a certification. He's an arborist. And I thought, an addition to his business is having that certification to say, I'm not going to damage any other trees around. I know how to safely remove this, not just go in and remove it. And I may take a look at the rest of their trees and stuff. So certifications are great in whatever you're doing. Yes. Okay.
They definitely make a difference.
Yes. It allows you to be trusted a little more online when you're doing your digital stuff online. That trustworthy point. Now that AI is looking into all the pieces, they're not just looking, they're looking into some organic things. So those certifications and those pieces they'll be looking into. And it's a good thing to have. So let me pause right here for just a second, because what Cain is sharing is exactly the kind of moment I see so many of you in. You've got the skills, you've got the experience, and maybe even the dream. But what holds a lot of new business owners back is not having the right systems in place from the start. That's where most people end up frustrated, trying to fix things, months or even years down the line, instead of getting them out, getting them straightened out in the first, strong from the beginning, like a great foundation. Okay, standing out from the start. When you think about entering this market, what do you hope will make your company different from, different right away?
So that is kind of challenging in itself, because
Sure.
the market is just saturated with painters or people that say they can paint.
Not only that, let me interrupt you. Yeah, let me interrupt you right there for a minute. Not only saturated with people, but it's saturated. With people, this business has the worst reputation. Like, we're the least trusted in commercial, residential, wherever. The contractor is the least trusted. Go ahead, finish your statement.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to say. So, painting. Yeah, you're fine. So painting gets a really bad name from individuals. One, that don't know what they're doing. Two, that all have habits that bleed into their work. That are, not the healthy habits, if you understand what I mean.
Right.
And then three, they, unfortunately, there's people out there that love to take people for their money.
Yes.
They don't, they'll collect on jobs or get, draw, and they won't come back and stuff like that. So, getting to people, getting to people and getting jobs done and letting them know, hey, look, this is how I work. This is the type of work that I'm able to do. This is the quality of work that I perform. Is that it's not necessarily challenging. It's necessary.
Absolutely necessary.
Word of mouth is everything. You can have pictures and stuff like that, but word of mouth from people is absolutely everything.
Absolutely. And their word of mouth of the review they leave you, it means everything. Like 98% of people read those reviews, and they feel strongly about the reviews they're reading. So you have a double-edged sword kind of in painting, especially when you lean into residential, not so much commercial. But you've got that DIYer out there that thinks, well, I'm breathing, I've got a pulse, I've got some paint brushes downstairs and some rollers, that I can do it myself and get just as good quality as anybody else coming into the house. And then you've got those that think, why would I hire? They'll just, it's something I can do. Why do I need to pay somebody else to do that? So you kind of got a double-edged sword, which the fact is it takes a lot more than just a pulse and breathing to paint. A professional paint job is nowhere even in the same ballpark, is it?
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's completely on the other side of the country, out of another different range of ballpark.
It is. Yeah, I tell you, you guys come in and you have all these tools. Some of them I've painted a lot of houses and done a lot of painting. I've been in that side of it. But even some tools that I've not even known that make it neater, cleaner, make your job look more professional. The quality of paints that you have access to, it's just a complete different field. Having to build that trust is very important. Having to, do that with your clients. If somebody has any painting needs, they can find you at actionplanpainting.biz and trust you right off the bat.
That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah. So they have to, I want everyone to remember you need to be giving written estimates. This verbal estimate is not professional. Throw that out the door if you think that's going to work for you. It's not trustworthy. People will not trust it. It's got to be a written estimate. You have to do what you
Correct.
say.
A detailed estimate.
That's a good point.
Yes, detailed paperwork.
Yes, that way, and that has the communication on it, so that way they can't say back and say, well, you said you were going to do this and this and this, and you didn't do this, this, and this. And, the same to my homeowner, if you're out there, have them give you a written, you'll want it too as a homeowner. Both of you will want it. Keep that in mind. So as you're doing your written, estimates, do what you say you're going to do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, show up on time, clean up after you get done, and be on budget. That builds a lot of trust right there, right?
It does.
Yeah. Okay. Looking ahead, long-term vision. When you think 2 to 5 years down the road, what do you hope action plan painting looks like?
So ideally, I would like for it to, I'll start out with the amount of people. So ideally, I would like to employ a full-time estimator because it is very strenuous to do a little everything.
Yes.
So, getting the right people in place because, you don't have to be, it's something I was told a long time ago. I don't have to be the best at everything and I don't have to know absolutely everything.
Right.
If I surround myself with people around me that are the best in their field and that do great in their field, then it pays off for you, and it does. So hopefully, I will be able to afford a good estimator and somebody that I can depend on. That hey, what are we looking like on this? Well, this job is going to be this much. It's going to require this much paint. Here's why. Yada yada yada. The one that I can trust. When I hear them say that, I'm like, okay, great. I know that this is going to be right. So have that full-time estimator slash, takeoff person because they can never do the takeoffs on them. And then have trustworthy crews. So that is something that is very hard to find that I have. It has been challenging to find is good crews that are trustworthy.
That's true. I think that, if there's any way that you can find a way to, offer plenty for them, then that helps too. But yeah, you have to, and then they just almost have to be, some of them have to be micromanaged. But what you're looking for is that one that doesn't need that, that has that. A lot of times you can bring people in. When we would bring people in, you'd bring people in and, if they knew that, right now I'm the crew leader, but I would like somebody to take on that place and that role and that, I'm looking at it. There are, things out there for you to determine, how many, square feet, one painter should be doing in a day. And then, you add a break or two in there. And then, this is, an estimate of what it takes to paint this room. You should know how long they're in there and pulling out. And when you hold them accountable, and they know that they can, have where they can move up in the company, I think will help them to be more responsible and maybe excited about that growth as well.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So you see yourself building a team. Do you see yourself always staying lean, or do you kind of want to expand services and things?
So, lean is something that I've always practiced just because of manufacturing. However, looking at it on this side of the table now, lean might not be the best for everything. So I am looking at, opening my mind or opening my, my thought process to other things to add. However, I would like it to be where, I'll eventually just have subs and I have like a 1 or 2 full-time crews and then use subs for, other jobs, the subs that I can, depend on.
Right. That's a good thinking. So what's your why for doing this? What's the bigger goal behind the business?
My why is my family. So that is my why. To be able to better provide and a better quality of life for me and my family, or for my family and I.
Mhm. Wonderful. Okay, advice to others on the edge of this leap. What would you say to someone listening who's also planning their move but hasn't taken that final step yet or that first step yet?
Too much planning will kill you.
It'll squash your dreams, won't it? Don't sit around
So,
forever.
I mean, there's people that have great ideas all the time, and all they do is just plan, and instead of act. So there has to be some kind of act and or action to every plan. If not, it's just a plan that goes unfinished or never touched. So I mean, because I originally had my goal was, all right, I'm gonna get this going and have everything perfect before I start. I was like, crap, I keep doing this, I'm not gonna do anything. So I'm just like, all right, well, you know what, let's start working, and then we'll work through some of the things, because you gotta learn, you gotta live to learn, and you gotta live through some things, and sometimes some struggles make you a better person / better business owner.
I don't know the guests I've had on here the past weeks who they're multi-million dollar businesses, but all of them have lost everything at some point through that process and then picked right back up, and they're into multi-million dollar businesses again. You're absolutely right. Just because you look at somebody who's wonderfully successful doesn't mean it was one straight path and they just went zooming down the road to it. They all have, fallen. And I call it, different versions of yourself. You got 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. You just fix
There you
it.
go. So I know it's going to sound crazy, but I wanted to be able to define my business on a little bitty, here, I can do this. So on the back, I wanted to be able to define my business on the back of this card. Like everything about it, everything that I do right there. Because that keeps it simple.
That does keep it simple. And that's a great...
keep it simple. A lot of folks make everything to where they overcomplicate it. Everything is overcomplicated these days.
Way overcomplicated. Good point. And do you know, they say that, like, let's say you do build it when you build it and you grow it, and let's say you want to retire out of it, and maybe, a family member doesn't want it. So let's say you could sell it. The simpler you keep it, the more you're going to have people lined up fighting you for it when it's all said and done as well.
Oh, well, let's hope that happens.
Wouldn't that be great? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to happen. So I want to talk about action steps for my audience. Audit awareness. Your action steps this week, listeners, is to look at one part of your business and ask, is this set up to support my growth, or will I have to go back and fix it later? Write it down. And if it's shaky, then make a plan to put one system into place to fix it right now before it gets out of hand. Cain, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been awesome hearing your story and how you're planning this big move. I know our listeners are going to be inspired by your journey and the way you're taking action. We can't wait to see what you build with Action Plan Painting, and we'd love to have you back on the show down the road to talk about how your journey unfolded.
That works perfect. Thank you.
Cain's story is such a reminder that you don't have to wait until everything is perfect to get started. Sometimes the most powerful place to learn is right in the middle of planning your next big move. And if that's where you are thinking about stepping out on your own, here's my encouragement. Start the right way. Build the foundation now so you don't have to go back later and fix costly mistakes. That's exactly what I help contractors and service business owners do through D&D Business Systems. Create the marketing and automation systems that let you launch and grow with confidence. If you're ready to make your move, you can grab a free business audit at dndbusinesssystems.com/business free business audits. I'll walk you through what's working, what's missing, and how to set up your system so your business is built to last. And remember, this is more than a podcast. This is your platform. Your story matters. Let's amplify your voice with purpose. Thank you.